All right, I'm Melissa Chartrand. I am here outside of the Geyer barn, and it is just an absolutely glorious day. And we've heard about the barn. We refer to it as the Geyer barn, and we've known that it's a gentleman that was a pharmacist, Arthur Geyer, but that's about all that we've known until today, when I have several members of his family here visiting with us. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So we're going to start with, how come you're here? How are you related to the Geyer barn? Brian?
Well, I'm the one who decided we should do this. So
Okay.
I'm his great-grandson. This is my mother, Rosemary Geyer O'Meara, and her sister, Catherine. We call her Kay. And Aunt Margaret, who is married to Arthur Gray Geyer, who was the oldest grandson, I guess. And we just thought this would be an opportunity for us to come and see the barn and have our mothers get together for another chance to reminisce.
To have some memories, because you shared, and you have your sister here as well and some other family members too. And you chatted about the barn. First of all, let's start with most important. The first thing you noticed when you came was?
That the barn was supposed to be yellow and it's red.
And it's red. So maybe we might have to talk about repainting that back to yellow for you and get the right color yellow. And
well, I said it was yellow. Oh, you remember that it was yellow? Yes, and the house was yellow too.
and
The house is over that way, right?
right, this is all different. So there was the house and the barn,
Right.
and your grandfather was a pharmacist.
Correct.
But you mentioned something about bicycles as well.
Well, he used to sell bicycles too. And my brother used to ride this great one-wheel bicycle, big wheel in the front and a tiny wheel in back. And that's so old-fashioned, maybe nobody else remembers that kind of bicycle.
We sure do. And you said he used to actually ride the bike right down the doors.
He'd start holding on to the barn door and then go down the slope, and I don't know where he went from there.
Down to South Street, I bet.
It's called a penny farthing.
Okay.
Obviously it's from England, since those were two coins. But a cent is a penny here too. So I guess they just attached that name to that particular bicycle, because that's all it was, a big wheel.
And the little one. Now you spoke about.
Penny farthing.
It's a good memory. Now, you spoke about your memories about playing here, that you didn't live here, but you would come down to visit and spend countless hours. What types of things would you do in the barn?
We didn't do things in the barn. We went at 10 o'clock in the morning. We went to Craigville Beach, came home at noon, ate lunch. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we went back to Craigville Beach. So that was our joy.
That was your joy. And then what would you, and playing in the barn as well, or no? And what your recollection of the house and things around here?
The barn was, I guess, off limits to us, though nobody ever said we couldn't, but I guess my brother was the only one who went in the barn. But he was adventuresome.
And tell us a little bit about the man, about Arthur Geyer. What was he like and what he did? You were mentioning he was because today the barn, it's a very much an active community space. It's it's a community art space. There's classes and there's performances and exhibits, and certainly that wasn't the case back then, but Arthur himself was very community oriented.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a Geyer by blood, but in his little obituary, in what newspaper?
it was something in the Rotary Club. He was a Rotarian, so the Rotary Club put out a little thing about him. He was one of the founders of Cape Cod Hospital, and he and his sister shared a building, right? She had the
Aunt Josie had a
The
gift
craft.
shop
Yeah.
on the
craft,
side
yeah.
wall of his drugstore.
on Main Street, right?
I think so.
And he was very civic-minded. In his will, he left money to both the library and the hospital.
Now, what did you feel when you all gathered? You've come from all over. You said you started up in New Hampshire. You've made your way to the Cape. You here live on the Cape in Orleans and Brewster. But for you other folks getting together and reminiscing, what types of things when you were together at lunch and when you walk into the barn, what are you thinking about?
I think I remember old times of being different places at Ipswich. I got more of a sense of really a heart feeling standing in the barn, knowing it was arts and crafts and knowing my mom loves, sorry, arts and crafts. Sherry's very artistic, and my granddaughter being artistic. So to know that this building that's been really a part of my history, maybe we don't have the building, but the spirit of the building, the art, the sense of it is here. And that was awesome.
Brian?
Well, you know, I've had a real interest in the last couple of years in ancestry and tracing the family tree, and I only within that last period of time became aware of the impact that my great-grandfather had here, that he was a businessman, he owned a couple of different businesses, he was civic-minded, and I only just recently realized, say in the last year or two, that there was this barn that was his, and I just had to come and see it because I didn't know him. He's my great-grandfather, but I have just, I feel a connection, I guess, to the family, and I just want more of it.
Sherry, do you remember coming down when the house was here or the barn?
No, we never visited here, but I remember coming to the Cape and going down a road and looking for the tire man that was on one of the roads coming down here. I'm the oldest of the children, so I don't know that anyone else remembers that, but I do remember that. But it's exciting to me, being a new watercolorist for the last 2 years when I retired in watercolor, to see that the art is in the building and it's part of my history. It's great. I agree.
And I also just remember my mother talking fondly of coming to Hyannis every summer. She grew up in Hanover, New Hampshire. Her father, who was Arthur's son, was a professor at Dartmouth College, and every summer they would come down, and as a child she talked frequently of her summers in Hyannis.
How wonderful to have those memories.
Ice cream and blueberries is what I remember about mother's stories about the Cape.
How many times they could pick the letters of the alphabet in the ride it took from Hanover to Hyannis.
Yeah.
It was an all-day affair.
Right, because as you said, there weren't the highways like there are today or the stops. And this area itself, I can only imagine what you remember. As you say, it wasn't as it is today with the parking lots. It was the house and the barn. And what else was around the area? Were there other neighbors and homes nearby right here?
You don't remember, Mom?
Don't
You
remember?
remember going very early in the morning, don't you? Tell that story.
Every morning, right after breakfast, when my grandfather went to the drugstore, I went with him and he made me a chocolate ice cream soda. And then I could walk home from there.
So we're going to go look and see if we can
We're
find
gonna have to
where the
find
drugstore
where
is.
the
Okay.
drugstore
That's our
was.
next
That's-
In the
visit.
street, there was a strip, and cars would go on it, and that would change the light. So I used to jump on that strip, trying to change the light, but it never changed.
No.
You weren't heavy
weren't
enough.
heavy
You weren't
enough.
heavy enough.
Maybe I should do it today.
Well, I thank you. It has been such a pleasure. I thank you all so much. Thank you for sharing some of your memories with us. I'm sure after we leave you today, the conversations will continue and the memories will come. And so enjoy the rest of your visit. And it's shedding new light on the barn.
Thank you for keeping it going.
Thank you so much. I'm Melissa Chartrand, wishing you all an artful day.